Nope.
Wow, really?
It just wouldn't. Hold on.
It's tradition. There we are. Now we can start the episode.
There it is. Yeah. You know, it's a good burp when you like kind of almost vomit in your mouth.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
it's
you
good.
hope for that every time.
Exactly. It's the sign of a job well done. That's all it is.
You're reaching deep.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Nugatory Conversations, and it's episode 20.
Whoa!
Episode 20.
Can you even believe it?
I can, because it's right here on the screen.
Okay.
It says it right there. Numbers don't lie. But then again, I put them in, and I'm often wrong.
It could be not 20.
It could be not 20.
It could actually be 21, technically.
Most numbers aren't 20.
Isn't it actually technically 22? Because aren't there
If
two
you
episodes
count-
that we never aired? The first episode that
the
we
very
ever
first one
recorded,
we ever
right? And then there
recorded.
was one that we just scrapped, right?
That was like half an episode.
Yeah.
So this is
It's 22. The
is
numbers did lie.
straight to DVD Lion King 2.5
That's right.
of Nugatory Conversations.
22 and a half.
I remember liking Lion King 1.5 or whatever the hell.
Yeah, same. But I think that I was just a kid and I was
Yeah.
like, the Lion King.
Yeah, exactly. When you're a kid, you can't really tell the difference
Yeah.
between good things and bad things. And it's like, I'm just taking it all.
I remember it's Timon and Pumbaa and I loved them.
Yes, exactly.
You know.
What did you like from this week? I'm assuming not illness.
Yeah, no, I've been sick and I'm sure it sounds like it. So
That'll be
that's
fine.
great. Not being sick. That has not been great.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been very much enjoying Vic Berger.
Yeah, Big Burger rules.
Yeah, he's really awesome. And I've just been diving in.
There's so much.
Yeah, there's so much. And if you really dive into some of the stuff, it's not just like goofy. You know what I mean?
No,
like, it's like
I've always found it to be okay. Well, first of all, for anyone that doesn't know, so Vic Berger, he is a person that makes content, a content creator. He formerly most well known for being the editor for Tim and Eric during the Tim and Eric Awesome Show, Great Job era, and now he does independent stuff on YouTube, and it's really great. Most of it is
VICBERGER. Is that how you would find him on YouTube?
yeah, VICBERGER.
Yeah.
Isn't it
the
like
audience.
Vic Berger the Fourth or something?
Yeah, I think so. I think on YouTube it's just Vic Berger though.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
But
But
I think it is on.
on Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mhm.
So most of his stuff is just like repurposed clips of just like the
Anything.
news, really anything, but like mostly it's political stuff.
Spent a lot of
so,
time
like,
watching him redo some Steve Harvey stuff that actually made me really sad for Steve Harvey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was depressing. He clearly doesn't want to be doing what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, at that point though, it is just kind of a formula. It's just goes on Family Feud. Someone says something shocking. He looks directly at the camera. Lather, rinse, repeat.
I think he wants to be like a Joel Osteen type, but he just only can do
can't.
Family Feud and the Steve Harvey show.
Dude, how fucking weird would it be if like just like a former stand-up comedian suddenly headed up a megachurch?
Almost as weird as one becoming our president.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. He's a Cheeto, right? He's a
Yeah,
Cheeto.
right.
That's crazy.
Anyway, but yeah.
But Vic Berger, very, very good at what he does. And but no, I've always found that his stuff is really just honing in on the true nature of these grifters.
Absolutely.
Like that's like, and through the goofy edits, he makes it
Emphasizes
unavoidable who these people actually are.
It's things, I love it because a lot of times it's little things that I don't think that you would catch typically that he just plays over and over again.
Yeah.
Where it's like, that was a weird thing. But whenever you see it over and over, you're
it's
like, oh, that's really weird that they did
it's
that.
super
It's
fucking
really
weird,
weird that they did that. But so do you know anything about his stuff with like Gavin McInnes?
Oh, I know that name.
He's the dude that started the Proud Boys. Also the founder of Vice magazine.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which that is a fucking travesty of a man.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Which I
What a
found out
shitbag. Yeah.
so much about through Vic
Vic,
Berger's
yeah.
videos. But yeah, if you don't know what the Proud Boys are, it's a fucking what Gavin McInnes is calling for is basically violent crimes against the left. Like that's what they stand
That's
for.
his whole thing, which is it's basically
It's a gang for the right wing.
Yeah,
to
it's just a
incite violence against the left.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bunch of fucking dopey dudes that are
it's actually that though. He literally gets up on his show and he's like,
so basically that this is what we're getting at here is this is a group for very normal, well-adjusted people.
Yeah,
they just got different ideas about how to do stuff. They deserve respect like everybody else,
and they dress nicely.
Yes,
you know that's a key element. You know what I mean? He's like, oh my god. Anyway,
yeah, they're trash.
But so Vic Berger made a couple videos about Gavin McInnes.
Yes.
One from him on his show just repeatedly using the N-word.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. And then the second video that he made was of him, of Gavin McInnes pushing a very large butt plug out of his own butthole. And Gavin McInnes was not happy about these videos, and he sent a Proud Boy to Vic Berger's house to incite violence.
Right, like the Proud Boys do.
And Vic Berger didn't participate and ended up just like kind of like chasing him off of his property and stuff like that. But then Vic made these videos basically like, hey, this is kind of what happened.
Yeah.
This is why all this stuff. Really great videos. Look this stuff up. But Gavin McInnes made like a response video that was like, Vic Berger is mentally ill. And sort of basically just
sick own.
What's so funny is that he's just doing a cheap cheap iteration of Vic Berger,
Vic, and he just can't.
Where he's like taking Vic Berger's stuff basically out of context and like aligning it to his own needs, and it just does not work. And what's
doesn't
great
work the other way.
is that he's like, Vic took a video of me using the N-word like over and over again. But if you watch it in context, this is what it was like. So he plays the videos in context and it's just
as bad.
Same.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's just still him using the N-word over and over again.
Okay, yes, I said the N-word a lot of times, but there were other words in between.
Yeah, that's all it was. It was like, dude, you're not helping your cause here at all.
How do you think this is helping?
No, it was ridiculous. And then there's actually a playlist on Vic Berger's YouTube channel just dedicated to the Proud Boys, where he has just a bunch of different clips that he's found from YouTube of like Proud Boy engagement, basically, like them inciting violence and things that are happening. And it was like, it was not funny.
Yeah.
And he wasn't intending on making these videos funny.
Yeah.
It is just showing
like
these people acting like horrible fucking people, that they're out there and that they're doing this. And I was like, dude, this guy is an artist, man.
Yeah.
Like,
no, he really is.
It's funny watching Steve Harvey say weird stuff and
or
taking
like
things
Rudy
out of context
Giuliani
like that.
Scream America.
Sure, yeah, that stuff is really funny. But it's not just that. It's also here's the harsh realities of the stuff that these are these people. You know?
He understands that, like, if you're gonna punch, you got to do so with a purpose. Like, he understands, like, there's a point to all of these. It's not just goofy edits. Like, there's a reason for it.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's to point out how fucking ridiculous this shit is. But it's great. As much as I've been super enjoying Knowledge Fight, and I think I've talked about that in previous episodes, it just feels really good to see shitheads being called out on their shit. Sure. You know what I mean? And I support everybody that's doing it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And especially with them, it's like, you see people, like, supposedly, like, calling out these guys by having them on their show. Yeah. And, like, giving them a platform and a microphone. Right, yeah. And so it's just like, okay, that's not really the same thing. Where it's like,
well, I
these
will
guys
say
are taking the piss out of them and also being like, no, like, they're not going to guest on my channel or anything.
Right. But I will say that in Vic Berger's, he does a longer video just on Gavin McInnes.
Yeah.
And in that video, he shows a lot of Joe Rogan having Gavin on his show.
Right.
And Joe Rogan's responses to everything that he's saying is
just like, what the
you're
fuck?
Fucking
You're
crazy. And what I will say from watching him interact with those really ridiculous people is that he really doesn't let them get away with a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he really does do a pretty solid job of whenever anything super crazy is said, he's like, hey, man. Like,
it's like, that's pretty bad shit.
Clearly.
What you just said.
And he always has people, like, Googling information. Like, with Alex Jones, that was a big thing.
Yeah, it was just being like, fact-checking
can we check time? And find out if that's real or not really quick? Anyway, check out, I mean, if you don't already know Vic Berger, you got to look that stuff up.
He's
it's really
great.
I mean, Go to the stuff about Steve Harvey for fun. Go to the stuff of the ridiculous edits of rappers for fun. Go to Steven Seagal. That's who it is.
Oh yeah, Steven Seagal.
He has some Steven Seagal stuff on there.
That's
Watch that stuff for fun. And then go check out the stuff that he does with like Alex Jones, Gavin McInnes, what's his name, Ben Shapiro.
Yeah,
go check out some of that stuff to see how fucking
expository,
absolutely insane these people are and the emphasis of it. So anyway, what did you enjoy this week?
You fucking know what I enjoyed.
I already know, dude, because I enjoyed the same thing.
Exactly. But
I picked Big Burger because I was like, I have to have something else because I already know what you're gonna pick.
Yeah, for sure. Before I get to that though, a very quick runner-up. Want to shout out my boys in Delta Sleep. They are a UK-based math rock band who just put out a new EP. And I want to highlight this in particular because we've mentioned on this podcast before, but math rock is a genre that I enjoy. And I guess you could call the music that I make math rock, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think that a pretty sizable portion of the genre is very samey, just open F tuning, noodly riffs, whiny vocals. There you go. That's math rock, baby. Right. And you'll get promptly downvoted on the math rock subreddit if you post anything like that. But there are definitely bands in the genre that are pushing boundaries, expanding it in unique ways, and just kind of doing their own thing and being unique, just kind of in a somewhat technical way that's never too flashy.
They are out there.
Yeah, they are out there. They might not be the norm per se, but there's a pretty solid amount of like god tier bands that are just killing it. Delta Sleep, I definitely wouldn't say that they're like experimental, but as far as the bands on the more traditional side, they are one of the best that are out there. I was a little underwhelmed by their last full-length album. Their first full-length album is really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Second one didn't really meet my expectations, but they just put out an EP like 2 days ago, the time of this recording, and it is exactly what I wish I would have gotten from the second album.
Word.
And so it's like, hell yeah, this is great. It really just leaned into all the best parts of the first album in an interesting and concise and exciting way. Also, the mix was a lot better than the second album, so it's like, this is great. I'm so happy. This is what I wanted. So shout out to Delta Sleep. You guys are great. But it's fucking Zelda, baby.
Dude,
Link's Awakening on the Switch
it's awesome.
Is my pick, and it is outstanding. I actually beat it. I've never beaten a Zelda before.
That's crazy.
I really don't beat games very often just in general, but I've specifically never beaten a Zelda, so this is the first one, and boy, what a fucking delight this game is.
It's been a blast.
It's so good. Yeah.
I have not quite beat it yet. I am
you're
pretty close.
Near the end.
Getting pretty close.
Like you probably got like, well, depending on how long the last two dungeons take you, because those two tripped me the fuck up. You probably got like I'll say 2 hours left.
Okay.
If things go sort of smoothly. It gives you a little bit of room. But yeah, what a fucking delightful game. I can definitely say it is my favorite Zelda that I've played. I certainly haven't played all of them, but of the ones that I have experienced, it is my favorite. I was thinking about this a lot in comparison to Breath of the Wild. I definitely had a lot more fun with this than I did Breath of the Wild.
I did as well.
Not that I dislike Breath of the Wild.
I also liked
Settle
it.
down, people in the comments. I understand, but it's a great game, and I like Breath of the Wild too. But Breath of the Wild, I understand why some might prefer it because they're looking at it from the stance of like dollar value, which we talk about a lot with fast food. But when it comes to video games, I understand that mentality of like, okay, if I'm paying $60 for this thing, I want as many hours out of it as I can get.
It's an interesting stance.
I understand that, but I certainly don't
necessarily agree with that at all.
I don't agree with it at all. I get it. I get where it's coming from, but I think it is flawed, mainly because, so like, Link's Awakening is not a particularly long game. I beat it in a week, and I wasn't playing it every day.
Yeah.
So, like, I got through it pretty fucking quickly, especially by $60 game standards, but the quality across the board was so high and all of it was so memorable that I would much rather have a shorter game where everything's memorable versus a game like Breath of the Wild whereas there are memorable moments, but a lot of it is just kind of whatever. It's just kind of nothing.
A lot of the stuff was harder to find too.
Yeah.
The super memorable stuff was stuff that you could play
and
through the game without ever touching.
Yeah. Now to Breath of the Wild's credit, though, a lot of the memorable stuff aren't it's not scripted events. It's just
Yeah.
kind of the experience of
Yeah.
playing it. Like, oh, I found this bokoblin outpost, and then this crazy thing happened,
Yeah.
and then I used the physics engine to do this. I mean, that's kind of like the whole mission statement of playing No Man's Sky, because there are scripted events now, but most of it is just your experience through playing
Yeah.
is what creates the memories. And I think that's really valuable in games. But I think that in terms of like the things that are intended to be really memorable or really stick out, the grand total percentage is so much higher
I think
in
so
a
too,
game like
for
Link's
sure.
Awakening than
Yeah.
it is Breath of the Wild.
No, I mean just the story that you get to play through is very fun, and also it's also just not okay. So I was talking earlier off mic about how I felt like it was a much more like traditional
Yes.
Zelda experience, and that was one of the reasons why I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
was because it is a new take in the way that it looks.
Yeah, and
you know
it's
what I
visual
mean.
presentation, but like everything else is like the same as the source material.
Yeah. And as in a lot of the 2D Zelda games in general.
Yeah.
But it still just feels so much like one of those games. Through and through.
Well, so yeah, in general, I prefer the 2D Zeldas to the 3D. Like that's just what is more in my wheelhouse. Like I would say my favorite. Well, actually, okay. Now I would say my favorite is Link's Awakening, but prior to this, I would say like favorite is kind of a toss up between Link Between Worlds and Link to the Past.
Yeah.
And so just the 2D ones really do it for me. But yeah, I mean, it is obviously like, it is an old school Zelda experience because it's a remake.
Yeah,
But,
sure.
like, I mean, yeah, really all they changed was they just made it easier. The map system's a lot easier to navigate
it's great.
now.
Yeah.
Which, oh my God, I could not imagine doing some of those dungeons, especially later game, without being able to pin which staircase goes where.
Oh, wow. I never even thought about that.
Oh, really?
I have not
Yeah.
used that at all.
Yes, use it on, in particular. So with I think the second to last one, all the stairs, so there's multiple floors, but the stairs are all in the same spot. So you don't
Okay.
really need to pin them. But the one after, like the very last dungeon, you definitely
Okay,
gonna
yeah,
fucking
no,
need
that's
to do
something
that.
to definitely take into account. I have
Yeah.
used the pin system mainly to remember where things were to come back to
I
later
can't
and
access
things.
this yet, but
Yeah, exactly, stuff like that. But what I was gonna say is that it's also kind of a weird Zelda game in that it doesn't
so
really.
weird.
It is so weird. It's
Yeah.
just such a weird game in general. It also just doesn't align with like the typical Zelda story at all.
No, it doesn't. I realized like after like my second day with it, it like kind of dawned on me why I was enjoying it so much. And it's because the stakes aren't extremely high at all times.
No, it's just a fun little.
It's just nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's no Triforce, there's no Ganondorf, Zelda's not even in it.
Yeah.
Like there's none of the like,
Oh my god, this crazy shit's happening and you gotta go right now!
it's like, oh yeah, you're here. The only way to leave is to wake up the windfish. But I mean, in the meantime,
Yeah.
you're fucking fine to just
yeah,
chill here.
I heard something about basically it kind of being like a kind of transition game, like you wash up on the shore after a massive like Zelda game. I can't remember which one. It's probably Link to the Past.
Something like that. Yeah,
It's
I
like,
know
this
it's
is
one of those
after
where
you've
it's
completed
like,
a major mission, like
Yeah.
main story thing.
Like-
you end up on this weird island where everything's super. It's weird because it's very familiar from the beginning. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You wake up in this house,
Yeah.
just like always.
yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
But it's instantly weird. It's like that guy looks like Mario.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, so it's what you expect, but,
Yeah, but also
something's
totally
not right.
subverts that
Like something's
expectation,
weird
yeah.
here. And then you walk out and you see chain chomps and you
Yeah.
later see go like it's all of this strange
Yeah.
stuff. And I feel like it sets this really cool atmosphere and tone of you're on a really weird island.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
everything's just strange and like, yeah, there's things that are familiar, but also things that are not really familiar or like you know what they are, but it's like these aren't real. Like,
Yeah.
because one of the
It's
things
not that's
is
not
like,
part of this universe.
Yeah, exactly. So like when you get the Yoshi doll from the trendy game,
Yeah,
it's just like you can't even count how many games you've seen him in.
Right.
And it's just like, yeah, I know Yoshi. What is going on right now? Like,
Right.
yeah, it's so great because that really puts you in Link's shoes because you really feel the sense of confusion that he does.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he's just like, fucking, what is going on right now? Like,
Link's just like well, okay. Here we
okay,
go.
yeah.
It's just like
sure.
I love one of my favorite moments is whenever you go fishing
Yeah.
And you catch a fish and Link just looks at the screen and he's
That's
just
so
like,
great.
huh?
I took so many screenshots. Like whenever you have the huge fish, what's the line where it's like you caught a fish so big you wish you caught a smaller one.
That's great. And there's a lot of like goofy, funny stuff.
Oh yeah, like the flavor text is
Oh
A+.
yeah, you go and the first time that you visit like the secret forest or the mysterious forest or whatever, there's the raccoon man that ate a mushroom that made him think he got turned into a raccoon.
Yeah,
and he's like,
and he's like, I gotta sit down.
I love it. Yeah, no, that stuff is all very fun. It's got its nice little quirks to it that make it. I don't know. It gives it just a different kind of character.
Yeah, no, it really does stand out in the crowd. Like, especially with this new art style, which...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, my fucking God, these visuals are outstanding. Like, across the board, I was constantly impressed. And especially, so I had never played this game before, like, never played the Game Boy version. Didn't really know anything about it other than there's Mario stuff in it for some reason. And then just the experience of going through it and just constantly being surprised at what I was seeing.
Oh, yeah.
And especially when it's presented in such a fucking gorgeous way. It's like, dude, like, this is fucking awesome. Like, this is so good.
Yeah, well, two things. One, whenever I first saw the art style, I wasn't sold on it. Mm-hmm. And also, I did not know that there was originally Zelda stuff or Mario stuff in the game.
Gotcha. So you were like,
so I was like, what are they doing?
They
like, what is happening?
In a weird art style, and also
I found out about
it's
that
weird
stuff.
As hell. Yeah, okay.
That stuff later. And then it wasn't honestly really until I actually sat down and played the game for the first time that I was like, okay, I really like the way that this game looks.
Yeah, it's so good. And like, so one of the things, there's the blur on the top and bottom of the screen. So whenever you're spectating it, like if you're just watching someone else play it, it can look a little jarring and a little funky, but like whenever you're actually playing, like I straight up didn't notice.
Oh yeah, same.
Because your eyes are locked on Link because that's video games. But yeah, so you just don't even notice that blur. And if anything, it just really helps you kind of focus and hone in. And that was very much an intentional choice. Like they knew, okay, it might not look perfect whenever you're like spectating, but when you're playing it, it's going to be really beneficial to you, especially given how detailed everything is. Like you don't want your eyes to get caught on a detail that's not really in front of you.
Yeah, you need
really
to be
relevant.
focusing on what is right in front of you for sure.
That's really great. And then I saw a lot of people talking about the frame rate issues.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean,
just
they're there.
so
they're
incredibly infrequent.
Really?
Like, I really experienced it super infrequently. And whenever I did experience it, it was mostly when I was walking into a building. Like, that was when I noticed it.
It was walking in and out that I noticed in particular.
But it was like, I can't really recall any time I experienced it during combat or like any time when it like really, really mattered.
Yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't intrusive into gameplay by any means.
Yeah.
What I found. I did find that like it would happen in transition screens sometimes. I found that it would happen like, leaving certain areas and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I mean, for me, I just don't care.
Yeah. First of all, I'm super forgiving about that sort of thing, but also it didn't affect gameplay at all. Like it was, again, mostly when you're going in and out of buildings. And even then, whenever it does happen, it's for like a second or two.
Oh yeah,
like,
no, it's super
not,
brief.
It's not, maybe not even that long. Like, so if you were,
it happens.
If you were on the fence about the game because of supposed technical issues,
I wouldn't.
It's any talk you've heard about it is more than likely blown way the hell out of proportion.
I would definitely say so.
It's not.
I mean,
really
I don't.
Not a big deal at all.
Don't want to say that it doesn't happen because it does happen. It is a thing, but like it has not affected my enjoyment of the game.
Yeah, I would put it this
all.
way. It didn't affect my enjoyment. I also wouldn't even like. If I were rating the performance, I probably wouldn't even docket points for that. Like, it's so fucking minimal. It's like, whatever. Like,
I wouldn't think so.
Like, who cares? It doesn't matter.
I mean, I think it's not something that I would even, we're talking about it because we're kind of like being critical about it for a podcast. But
exactly. But
if I was talking to anybody about the game, I wouldn't even bring it up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not something that I would even think about.
Yeah, the only reason I thought about it was because I was trying to run down, like,
the things that people are complaining
people
about.
Talk about
sure,
online.
yeah,
it's
sure.
I've played through the entire game. Like, it's super unintrusive. It's
100% agree,
it's super infrequent. Like, again, I only noticed it a handful of times, and it was mostly in very benign situations. So
there's a lot of really good games where that is still a factor. So
yeah, absolutely.
This isn't the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Like Skyrim is one of the best selling games ever.
Sure,
and that shit is riddled with bugs and frame rate issues and all of that shit.
I really enjoy how I think it captures this in a way that a lot of the Zelda games that I've played haven't. Particularly, I think that A Link to the Past does this very well, but it really... So every dungeon and everything that you unlock, every little thing that you find, just makes Link so much more awesome.
Yeah, well,
every single piece. So now you can do this, and now you can do that, and just it makes the game more fun.
Yeah.
As it goes on. It's like, okay, well now I can handle these situations like this.
Yeah,
and now I can
sure.
get to these places, and now I can. And there's at the point where I am in the game, it's like I feel just so powerful.
Yeah,
now.
absolutely.
Like I never have a problem with a combat encounter at all, and now it's just okay. So they're kind of just part of the puzzle. When you walk into a room and there's enemies, it's like, okay, well, I know I have to handle these guys like this, and then I've got to now I can get to the stuff that I have to handle to solve the puzzle of this room or whatever.
Yeah.
It just feels good to like get the power-ups.
Yeah, absolutely.
And feel like a hero, you know?
Yeah, dude, it's all so polished, so clean. It's so great. Like and being able to swap items on the fly.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because so it's basically your action button, which is just to interact with objects, is A. You swing your sword with B, and then you can map X and Y to whatever item you want.
Yeah.
Which I pretty much just kept the feather on X because I had a lot of fun. So obviously one way to handle shield guys is let them attack you first. You hit them with their shield, they're vulnerable, and then you stab them. You can also jump behind them and stab them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I was just like jumping over their heads constantly.
That's fun.
I
couldn't imagine not just keeping the feather.
Yeah.
In there. You have to use it so often.
Yeah, for sure.
I couldn't imagine having those two buttons mapped out to
also
other things.
One, it's a great jump animation. I just like looking at it.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it's a Zelda game with jumping. Obviously, Breath of the Wild had it too, but like prior to that, it was pretty much just Link's Awakening, or at least as I understand it.
No, I mean, it took a lot of that stuff, made a really weird Zelda game that felt still so much like Zelda.
Yeah, exactly. It had all of the shit that I want from a core Zelda game, but also was just so weird and experimental, but it was just charming, like across the board. Every character you interact with just kind of has their own thing going on, and I really like that too because it's a small cast, but also in a small environment.
Yeah,
and I thought the map was just the absolute perfect size because there really is a lot to see and a lot to explore and a lot to uncover.
Yeah,
but it's not overbearing. Like it's not like, oh, where is this? Like you pretty much always know where to go. And that's the thing that I think a lot of games, especially in the open world era, just don't really have anymore, is games feeling like a place. Like Koholint Island feels like a fucking place.
Oh yeah, it definitely does.
By the end of it, I just knew where everything was.
It's awesome. It's its own little puzzle in itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
To figure out how to traverse the environment.
Like, in addition to it being an action puzzle game like a Zelda game is, the island itself is a puzzle.
I remember whenever you have to get the third ocarina song.
Yeah.
By going down the
with
hole.
the frog?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And I remember I thought that I had unlocked the entirety of the map before that.
Oh yeah, no.
And then I realized I was like, oh, there's a little spot over
the same thing
here
happened to me. I was like, oh,
that I haven't even touched yet.
And that's the thing with the signs, right? It was so fun. I love that.
Yeah, it was just super fun to be like, oh shit, like there's this tiny portion of the map that I
just didn't even
realize that I hadn't been to yet.
It's so funny. The exact same thing happened because I was looking at the map just like the zoomed out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I got it all. Like I got the whole map. And then it wasn't until I went there, I'm like, no wait, there's a tiny little spot that I haven't gone to yet. And then you go there and it's just
so funny because it's right at the very beginning.
Puzzle. Yeah.
It's like right next to where you start the game.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It paced that out in such a way that you would find something that was right next to where you started closer to the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Really the only like negative I could say about it, and this is really just like a surface level nitpick, is that I think they maybe could have done a better job at spacing out when you get the weapons, because it's like you have like, okay, you have your sword, you have bombs, and you have arrows for like most of the game.
Yeah.
And then you get the hook shot, and then it's like, okay, now I can traverse around and get to all the areas I couldn't before. And then you get the magic rod like at the very end, and then it's like you barely have any time to use it. And it's like, oh, well. And now that said, there's not really a lot of use for it. I kind of would have wanted to see that paced out a little bit more, maybe seen more areas that were locked behind more items.
Yeah,
but
I did think it was odd that you just could go buy the bow and buy the bombs.
Yeah, because that was how you got them at first, was just going to the shop, which at first I thought that was weird, but then the more I thought about it, it's like, no, it's forcing you to engage with the town. Like, you kind of have to live here. Like, you kind of have to.
It took me a minute to figure out how to get the ocarina.
Yeah, because you have to go back twice. Or rather, I guess you can.
I only went once.
Yeah, I guess depending on when you go.
Yeah.
I went as soon as I could lift things.
Yeah,
You
and
took
then
did the
nap.
first part.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'm going to come back. So as soon as I got the Pegasus boots, then I went in and did that. Yeah. But even then, again, that is like a surface level nitpick. That's not like something that's like truly wrong with the game.
Dude,
but like that is me trying to think of like, what did I really not like? And it's like, well, I guess maybe we could have gotten the weapons at a more consistent pace. But really, that's it. That's like the only negative I can really think of.
I don't really have any complaints. I might have more like critiques once I've completed the game. I honestly think that I may actually go into another playthrough like immediately after.
I'm honestly considering it. I'm still in my playthrough,
knowing exactly what to do and everything and playing
for sure.
it that way,
So,
I feel like may lead to a different like level of understanding. Also, I have been trying to just grab every heart piece that I possibly can.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
I don't know if I'll need to do that like next playthrough.
Yeah, you
either.
don't really. I mean, I got through it because each row is 10, right?
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
So I think I had like 17 by the end.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I got most of them.
Like I said, now as feeling as powerful as I do.
Yeah.
I don't need that many.
No, you really don't.
I just don't.
Especially if you, and another piece of advice, like if you are on the fence about getting this game or if you've just started it or whatever, wherever you are with it, just do all the side shit. It's well worth it because one, there's just no fat on this game. Every part of this game is a necessary part of this game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, worst case scenario, it's delightful as hell. Best case scenario, it gives you something that's significantly going to help
Which
you.
is so great.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not bogged down by side stuff
No,
either.
it's not at all. Like it's
the side
really
stuff
light.
that it gives you is all
And it's
very
so
worth
unique.
it. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like again, the trading system. So like at the very beginning of the game, there's
I thought that was just going to be,
was
here's
just
a fun little thing for you to do.
yeah,
like,
but
throughout
no,
the
it's
game.
like a whole fucking thing. And again, it forces you to interact with the town. Like it makes
And you do
live
have to
there.
do it to a certain extent.
Yes, you do.
You have to do it to a certain extent. But
Yeah,
you
'cause
can
there are
go
certain
beyond what
items.
you have to do, and you
Yeah.
only get rewarded by doing it.
Yeah, exactly. No, and like there is always a payoff. Like there's no dead ends in the game. There's never like you do this thing, it's like, oh, it was just this. Like it's never that.
Oh, no.
Like again, worst case scenario, it's something super charming and delightful that I was glad that I saw. But best case is like, oh, cool, new armor, or cool, new whatever.
So what were some of the so the boomerang for me was like a really awesome, cool, huge find.
Yes.
I know that it's required, but the ocarina was something that I wasn't anticipating getting.
Yeah.
So for me, that was a really cool, awesome find.
Yeah, whenever I saw it, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I was super stoked about that. And then the mirror shield.
I didn't realize this too. So like the mirror shield doesn't just work on like magic or shit. Like if someone throws a spear at you,
Oh,
you
it'll
can
bounce the
reflect
spear back too?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I discovered that on accident.
That's cool.
And it was
that's
such
awesome.
a great moment.
But what was I going to say? The color dungeon.
That was mainly what I was thinking of was
Mm-hmm.
the color dungeon. Yeah, which that was, for anyone that doesn't know, so that wasn't in the original version of the game. So this is technically the third release of it.
It wasn't.
So so you have the original Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. Then there's the DX version, which was on the Game Boy Color, which is the same except for it has the color dungeon because the game was in color now.
Okay,
So they
gotcha.
added that. And then this one has the color dungeon. And I think I might be wrong about this. Someone feel free to fact check me. But I think so in the original version, there is an area that had support for the Game Boy camera or something.
Okay.
Or the Game Boy printer, my mistake. So yeah, so it had support for the Game Boy printer, so you could like print out little images. And then in the DX version, they replaced it with the color dungeon. And then in this version, they still kept the color dungeon, but it's kind of in a different spot. But then that area is now Dompe's shack where you can do the dungeon builder.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Which I haven't fucked with the dungeon builder really at all. So there's the
Okay,
initial...
so that might be. It's not even a complaint.
Yeah.
I would say. But that might be my only thing with the game.
I don't know. So like at the very beginning, so it's like, okay, he's like, oh yeah, come see me. And then you go and see him, which I thought that was really smart because it did a great job of teaching you about the teleportation pads.
Yeah.
Because it was right by his house
Yeah.
when you got to the next area. So teleport to his house, you go in, and then you do one little dungeon thing, you make your own. It's like, oh, neat. But I didn't go back to it after that. But now that I'm thinking about it, now that I have all of the dungeon slots,
Check it out. Yeah.
it's like,
Maybe
yeah,
it'll
it would
be a
probably be
little-
super
yeah.
fun to take my favorite pieces and make a dungeon.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, because initially looking at it, it's like, yeah, I mean, if you're doing it as you're progressing through the game, then yeah, it's going to be kind of boring because it's just
Here's the
pieces
stuff
from
that I've already
dungeons
done.
you just
Yeah.
completed. But if you've beaten the entire game and then go back to it, it's like, okay, I have all the pieces now. I can make a really cool, challenging
It would
dungeon if
be
you wanted to.
particularly fun to make a dungeon like that for somebody who, one, either hasn't played the game or is like
Yeah.
currently going through the game.
Yeah.
After you already have all of the pieces.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope it's essentially a test run for like a dungeon builder
Yeah,
Zelda
so
game. That's what I hope.
One of the devs, I think, like more or less confirmed that and was basically like, yeah, we just put this in here because we thought it would be fun. I mean, if you guys really, really like this, then maybe we'll see about doing more things like this in the future. But I mean, we don't have any plan set in stone right now.
I don't know if anybody is going to really, really like that.
And that's the thing, though. Yeah. So I think because from what I've seen, the reception to that has been pretty,
yeah.
So
It's fine that it's there. I have not thought about it since.
yeah, that's the thing. I honestly just kind of forgot about it until just now.
Yeah, I have not thought about it since it made me do it in the very beginning.
Yeah.
But how cool was it whenever you go and get the second song that lets you teleport from anywhere?
Oh, dude.
Where you were like,
Dude,
yeah.
I think it's the sixth dungeon, the sixth or seventh. That's like the first one you do after you get after you get that second song where you can teleport
Okay,
anywhere.
yeah.
You can also teleport to the front of dungeons. And
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
really, yeah. So one of the dungeons, I was like getting so frustrated because there was so much backtracking, and I didn't realize until the end that it's like it wanted me to teleport. It wanted me to go back.
Oh, well, there's teleport like spots.
Well, yeah, there's
but
the
you can
two,
do it
but it's
inside the dungeon at any time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And so it's
okay.
like, yeah, it wanted me to do that. And I was like, I just made it way hard. It's like, this isn't frustrating. I was just making it way harder on myself than I needed to because I
that's-
just forgot that I could teleport back and
I mean,
forth.
that's the times that it's been the most challenging has just been
Yeah.
me being like, oh, well,
I have to go do all of this now.
Well,
Yeah.
it's that, oh, I'm not doing the thing that the game wants me to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out there's a
it's like-
blatant, like,
Yeah, there's
oh,
a pretty
this is what
obvious
you're
answer,
supposed to
yeah.
do here, and I just don't see it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, I think someone said this about just about FromSoft games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Sekiro and shit, but it's like it's not a hard game, you're just not any good at it yet.
Yeah, sure.
It's like
yeah.
it's like a Zelda Dungeon's the same thing. It's like it's not hard, you just don't know what to do yet.
Right,
But
yeah.
then when you do, it's like, oh,
Yeah, I mean, and I think there's definitely like things, sort of there are comparisons to draw to some of those games as well with like,
Oh, yeah.
kind of the path making and like, okay, so now that you unlock this thing, now you can open up this path, or
Yeah,
now
well,
that you've made this.
yeah. And it's interesting
know?
too to see how like that kind of ebb and flow of influence, how like the Zelda games so obviously influenced FromSoft games,
Oh, yeah,
and how now they're
definitely.
coming back to influencing Zelda games.
Yeah, it's
Is a
cool.
really
Yeah,
cool thing.
yeah. I've played some of those games and gotten infinitely frustrated by the fact
Yeah,
that
for
like
sure.
I got so far and forgot to go to a save room
Yeah.
and had to start over from
Yeah, for
a certain
sure.
point in order to get back to where I was. And this game is very forgiving in the way
Yeah,
that it
definitely.
doesn't make you start everything over in that way.
There was really only like 2 times that I got like truly frustrated playing it, and it was in those last 2 dungeons. In particular, the very last one, there was just this fucking puzzle that I was so fucking stuck on that I was getting real salty, but that was the only instance like that. And obviously, it's the end of the game. Of course, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's just ramping up. Yeah.
exactly. So it's like, well, okay. But yeah, everything else about it, like, again, I really just don't have enough positive things to say
Dude,
about it.
same, man. It's just so, yeah.
So fucking good. I've had such a blast with it. And if you get the secret perfect ending, which you can only get if you make it through without dying. Which
so start
I did
over
not.
is what we're telling you to do.
Yeah, no, which I did not. I died 9 times exactly. It tells you on your save file how many tombstones you have.
Oh, word.
So I just looked it up on YouTube. It's a very subtle difference to the end. Well, I'm not going to say very subtle, but it is a small difference to the ending animatic. But if you are an astute viewer, you will know exactly what it's referencing from earlier. And it's like, oh, that's so nice. Like, it's just a really nice little, like, oh. But yeah, no spoilers. Not going to say what it is or even what the reveal is or anything.
YouTube it or beat the game without dying.
Exactly, yeah. But it's so nice. It's really just a super charming game. And I just love I really love the fact that it feels like a place in that because it is the perfect size with the perfect amount of NPCs. You really get to know everybody and get to know the inner workings of the island, and you get to enjoy it because it's not in peril at all.
Yeah.
Like, there's monsters, yes, but it's not in like, oh
it
my
does
god.
kind of ramp up the stakes like towards the end.
But just against you specifically.
Yeah.
It's not against everybody else. It's just you. Because
isn't it like
everyone
the monsters may like
the
take over
monsters
kind of thing? Isn't that sort of the implication?
So the monsters are just trying to maintain the status quo.
Right.
They just want the island to stay as it is. You were the one that's trying to fuck things up.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But they're like, it's got to stay like it is. It's got to stay like it is. And you're the one trying to change it.
But you want the big egg.
Exactly. You want to get that big egg. You want to get that. So one of my favorite little Easter big eggs is you can go up to, or I mean, as soon as you get access to it, which is, I guess, like
it's pretty early,
little past halfway through ish. I don't really even remember, but like once you get access to the big egg and you can walk up there, you can actually play the song of Awakening with just the amount of instruments that you have. So
okay,
yeah. So like if you only have like 4 of the 8 instruments, you can play the song just with those 4 plus your ocarina.
I haven't done it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can kind of hear like
I went and talked to the egg.
Yeah, but you can hear like a stripped back version of the song. That's cute. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's cool. I'll have to go see how it sounds.
Yeah, it's really nice. And oh my fucking god, the music.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's so perfect because it is the perfect mixture of like 8-bit synthesizers and just like analog synths and keyboards in general that go with the original motif, but also like the modern orchestral Zelda motif. But it's great because it's not big. Like the newer Zelda games are these really huge, swelling, gargantuan orchestras, whereas most of the tracks were maybe played by like 6 people.
Yeah.
Because like your main Zelda theme, the main etude, if you will. Etude? I don't fucking know. But like it's just a handful of dudes playing it. You have like a few
I didn't
horns,
even think about that.
You have a few strings, and then the percussion is just on a cajon. So it's like really stripped back, but still symphonic. Yeah. And it's like, this is so cool. Like, it's just like that.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
All of it's super delightful.
And it's great because, if it were so huge, it would feel overblown and it wouldn't really fit the visual style. But the fact that they stripped it back just enough, but still kept it really flavorful, and that mix of electronic and organic was just fucking perfect.
And it just works for the environment and the setting, you know what I mean? It's a much smaller setting. This is a small story in this giant timeline of epic. And so it works for that. And that was one of the things that was really awesome about playing like Ocarina for the first time is feeling how massive.
Oh yeah, because that was the first time.
Right. It was massive. And so, it wouldn't make sense for it to be that massive,
really huge score.
Yeah. So it's super appropriate. Yeah.
Well, and also, I mean, Nintendo's kind of the king of making smart music choices.
Definitely. Like, and we played the Cadence of Hyrule a little bit too. Yeah. And the music there was really rad as well.
Not even Nintendo, but like that team just like really fucking got it. And yeah, Cadence of Hyrule whips. I actually want to finish that.
Comes to like the music. Of Zelda in general.
Well, those songs,
these songs are not even like the songs that you know.
Yeah, so like Cadence of Hyrule was just taking famous Zelda compositions and reworking them to be a little bit more driving, a little bit more gritty and bombastic. But it works so well for that game because it's a driving rhythm game. Like you fucking need that, and it works so well along with the insanely fantastic pixel sprite animations. Like, goddamn, that game is clean looking. And actually now after going through Link's Awakening, if I don't go back into Link Between Worlds, I'll probably just dive face first into Cadence of Hyrule and try and get through that.
I'm stoked to finish Link's Awakening. It's been a blast so far, and I definitely I can't wait to see the ending. I just want to know, how everything culminates.
I think it is incredibly satisfying. I saw I saw two shithead takes about it, and they were one of them was in like an official publication, which just hurt my heart because it's like, oh shit, like, okay, well,
people are going to see that.
Yeah, for sure. But then the other one was just like a dumbass comment that everyone immediately dunked on. So it's like, okay, well. So the one that got dunked on dude was like, it doesn't even have New Game Plus. And then someone was like, what do you mean by New Game Plus? It's like, well, it's like when you can start the game over, but it's easier because you have all the items and stats. And it's just like, well, there aren't stats in Zelda, and getting the items is the point.
Yeah.
So if you had all the items,
if you had New Game Plus, you would just go to like the 4th dungeon.
Well, yeah,
I don't even know what would you do. You just go to the last dungeon and play again. So
it's like if you had all the items, you would just go to the end.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't even work as a concept in a Zelda game. So, and everyone in that forum was just like, "The fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, no.
So that guy got dunked on. But then the other was
dunked on.
But this dude was like, he contends that Link's Awakening has the worst ending of any Zelda game.
Okay, and I have not heard that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I think he's pretty alone in that take.
Yeah, no, I've not heard that.
And
at
like
all.
the reasoning, and I've
heard the opposite from the people that
exactly.
I know that have beat the game.
Yeah, no,
so.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I think it is an incredibly satisfying ending. I think it is pretty much exactly what
from
it
Super
needed.
Mega said that he cried.
Yeah,
as a 17-year-old boy.
That makes sense.
So
that makes sense for him.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I know. I didn't cry, but it was a very nice ending. It was a very touching ending. I really enjoyed it. If you know what the game is, you know that it couldn't have really ended any other way. Like this was the way it had to end, but it was handled with care. Like it wasn't like it's this. Like it was done very nicely with a lot of respect to.
I'm excited to see it. I'm just excited to see it.
It's really terrific. Like
I don't expect some massive like.
No, it's not.
You know what I mean? That's not what I expect out of it.
It's not some plot twist. It's not anything bananas. But it's very nice. It's very appropriate. And again, if you get that perfect ending, it's like like a nice little cherry on top, a little
Cute.
ride bell, a little ding. But it's a great game. We talked about it for the vast majority of this podcast.
Yeah, where are we at?
We're at an hour and 2 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I think this is just Zelda cast, dog.
And Nugatory Conversations episode 20, pretty much just Zelda.
I'm down with it, man.
That's fine. No,
I have stuff, but
no, I mean this was just like
we both spent so much time with this and had so much fun with it.
It was by far and away
the gush episode, man.
It was the highlight of my week by far, especially this week. There's just some obnoxious bullshit I had to deal with at work, so this was just like my thing. This was like. What I was looking forward to coming home was like, well, I got Link's Awakening.
Yeah, dude.
And then even now that I'm finished with it, it's just like I might go through it again. But it's also, I mean, I'm gonna 100% my save file because again, I still didn't get all the seashells. And still didn't get all the statues.
100% that shit, dude. I was thinking about that too. I think I'll probably 100% my next run.
Yeah,
because I do think that I am gonna
go through it again.
Start it over immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm debating. Maybe I'll do the hero mode.
I don't know
because
I don't think that I want to go through and get all the heart pieces next run. Because I think I want to start it over with kind of a challenge to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially already knowing how the puzzles work and everything.
Yeah,
just being able to go back through, play it on hero mode. And
for sure. I will definitely say, so again, I will reiterate, this is my favorite Zelda. Based on all the ones that I've played, this is my favorite.
Sure, yeah.
And I have never been one to like replay games every year. Some people have those that they just revisit. I used to have shows like that, but I don't really anymore. But I think that if I were to ever start having a yearly replay, it would be this. Like this, this is the one.
Yeah, I have had games like that in the past where I would replay them pretty frequently.
Yeah.
I mean, I've replayed Ocarina of Time
Just
many times. Yeah.
I've started that game several times, but
a lot of people that I know have done the exact same thing. I think it's interesting that people just get like super dissuaded by that game, like during their playthroughs in it.
Yeah, I am definitely in that camp.
It's a game that if starting it over sucks. So
Yes.
if like our buddy Andrew, like played through kind of the first portion of the game, got through like the Kid Link stuff, and then kind of dropped off on it. And I was like, okay. He was like, I'm thinking about starting over.
It's like,
do not do that, because that's where
it sucks.
Yeah,
the beginning is the worst.
Yeah, the beginning is the worst, and it's so slow to move.
Yes.
Like you have to go through so much text, so much like cinematic stuff that you can't skip. Just get through that stuff. If you're gonna, that's a game where you think that you need to restart it from the beginning,
but you
when really
truly
you
do
should
not.
just pick it back up from where you left off.
Yeah,
and you'll feel so much better about it. Like
just like I almost groaned out loud just now because I thought about doing the Lost Woods again.
Yeah, the Lost Woods is terrible. I mean, there's a lot of rough stuff. I mean, there's rough points throughout that game in general. I'm not saying that it's a perfect game by any means.
Sure.
I've played through it a lot of times, and so things don't bother me. But
I think that game definitely gets held up on a pedestal, which I understand why it's there, because it was the first 3D Zelda, and it was one of the games that kind of revolutionized 3D gaming. But I do think when revisiting it, it doesn't age as well as some, I think Mario 64 holds up better than Ocarina of Time.
I mean, yeah, I think that it does too, but I think that, I mean, for me, it's just like, Ocarina of Time was like the first game that I ever played.
Yeah, that was the one.
You know, it was the first game that I sat there and, I mean, I watched my dad play through it, and then we had it, so I played through it myself as well, and so it holds this weird, like, nostalgic place for me.
Absolutely.
That I don't even care about how buggy and crazy a lot of this
or
stuff is.
like
just going through and
heavy,
playing through that story again is so reminiscent of my childhood.
It takes you back to that time and place, much like, I mean, you're living the game, because the game is constantly going back to your childhood.
Absolutely.
That's your relationship
Dude,
to the
how
game.
weird is that? Yeah, it's true.
Like, I think, I honestly do think that is why people have that connection to it, is because it's like the least subtle representation of what you're doing by revisiting that game from your childhood.
It's true. Yeah, it's awesome. And like, I don't go and try and do the game better every time. I don't try and
not trying to
make myself faster at it. I just go and enjoy. Like, I'm reminded of, oh yeah, you remember whenever this happened? You remember when that happened? You remember this boss fight?
You remember that boss fight? You remember?
Remember this move?
You know, you know, and that stuff just like, it hits me in a weird place that really I don't think any other game does. But the thing is, I don't think that I'm alone in that, and I think that that's why
you're certainly not.
It is held up on such a pedestal.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think, so many people regard it that way and are willing to, like, overlook the shortcomings because it's that time
and if
place.
You didn't play it in that setting, then you can go and look at it and go, this is just not a good game.
Yeah, for
like,
sure. No, I didn't have it as a
game
kid.
to play.
My first real experience with it was on the 3DS.
Oh, okay.
And the 3DS port is really good. Like, it's a great way to play the game. I'm not knocking it, but it was just like getting through it was like, there's just like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm not doing a lot, and then what I am doing isn't all that cool.
Yeah.
Like, I would just much rather, like, and that was one of the things that I appreciated about Link's Awakening, was that it is just so pick up and go. Like, just
definitely.
Go.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm glad that they're getting back to that, because obviously Breath of the Wild was the first Zelda. I mean, pretty much
just
since
say, "Here
the first
you
Zelda,
go."
since to just like literally go. Link's Awakening, there's a little bit of that prologue, and even A Link to the Past had even more stuff you had to do in the beginning than Link's Awakening.
Yeah, it also has like a little bit of an intro kind of thing.
Yes, it
before
does.
you, actually jump into the game.
Whereas, Link's Awakening, the Switch version, you just have the
A Link to the Past is a very delightful game.
Oh yeah, no, Link to the Past rules, but
I beat it so long ago that I feel like I owe it to myself to go and play through it again now, because I don't think that, I think that it was just me beating, like I started it very, very young.
Yeah.
And played through that playthrough until I beat it.
Yeah.
I don't think I was actually able to appreciate it as a game.
Yeah, for sure.
It was more just like a thing that I beat my head against until
you eventually did it.
Yeah. Where now I think that I could go back and play it and be like, oh, this is a video game.
Yeah.
Especially after playing Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
And being like, oh, okay, so this is how all of this stuff works.
Yeah.
You know, but I know a lot of people hold that to be the
For
best
sure.
of all video
Yeah,
games.
and I definitely understand. Like, I think fucking Game Informer at one point like said that it was like the greatest game ever made, and it's like I don't really know what the best video game ever made is, but I think that's a fair shot. Like, I think that's a fair one to claim. I would also say not the most original. Like, I think a lot of people would say that Link to the Past is the best one ever.
I mean, it's...
Yeah, I don't know. But again, I don't really know what I would say the best game is. I don't think I've played enough of them to make that assessment. I don't think that's... it's not my responsibility.
It's probably a Call of Duty.
It's probably like Black Ops 3.
Probably.
Yeah, that's the one that people are like super into is Black Ops 3.
Yeah, I think it's...
For sure.
Yeah.
Either that or Infinite Warfare. That's the one. That, I think, is the one that people are like... Either that or like... I don't know, Sonic 06.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably Adventure Battle.
when Sonic fucks a person. He does that. Okay, really quick. We're over time. Really quick. I think about this way more often than I ought to. And actually, this... I'm not shitting you. This literally popped into my head the other day, unprompted. But, so, in Sonic 06, Sonic kisses a human person, which is fucked up if you think about it for more than 5 seconds. So
stop thinking about it right now.
Stop! No, so he kisses a human person, but it's like, or I think it's like he's passed out and she kisses him like Sleeping Beauty or something.
Oh, it's like shit. Fucking Sandlot.
Yeah. So it's like he kisses a human person either way, and at one point,
it's weirder if she if she.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. So, at one point, someone asked the voice actor who played the woman, what she thought of Sonic and I don't even know the character's name, but this human person's relationship.
Cheyenne.
Sure. Sonic and Cheyenne's relationship. And basically we're like, so like, is that like fucking bestiality? Like, what's up with that? What's going on there? And her response was, no, you're just being silly. No, it's not like that. Let's just say Sonic and Cheyenne have a very special relationship. And it's like, see, that makes it seem like you just confirmed the thing that you just denied.
Yeah.
And
I think the better argument would be that, like, Sonic's not totally animal. That way you can kind of maybe finagle some kind of
it's like
weird, it's not bestiality thing in there.
She's just a furry, which is, like, not technically the same thing, but pretty much the same thing.
I mean,
it's like, I don't even know.
There's wiggle room, you know? Yeah. I mean, I'm cool with it either way. But.
Yeah, I was about to apologize to any furries listening, but now I'm not going to. You deserve all the shame.
Shame!
How dare you? How dare you?
Take off the hat.
Take off the full bodysuit. All right.
Oh boy,
folks.
we've gone for too long.
Yeah, we have, and it's gonna be condensed, and it's fine. So, folks, thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the show and all the other things that release,
where do you go?
I'll tell you where you go. You go to patreon.com/Nugatory. Do you know why?
Why?
Because we're 100% listener funded.
We are?
We don't have sponsors.
No, we don't.
We barely have friends.
Yeah. And what do you get whenever you go to patreon.com and you maybe give us $1 or $5
I will tell you.
What do you get? What do you get? What do you get?
It's ostensibly name your price, as cheap as $1. You can
or $5.
Yeah, $1, $5,
or 10,
however much
or
you want to contribute, however much you think this podcast and my video essays and music are worth. You contribute that.
How much do you care about us? Is a pretty solid question to ask.
You get early access to this podcast.
This podcast
right now. You might even be listening to this podcast early, currently, as I'm saying this, because you've subscribed to the Patreon.
There you have it.
Also, if I release some music, you're gonna get that early. If I release a video essay, you're gonna get that early. And also, there's a Discord server, and people hang out in there, and they share
what do they
memes.
do in there, dude?
They're sharing memes. They're sharing music. They're just sharing gaming hot takes.